Have you ever been in a room where someone said nothing and yet controlled everything? Like they didn't shout, they didn't demand, they just existed, calm, unreadable and immovable, and somehow they had all the power. Well, that's not luck, that's not personality, that's strategy. Machiavelli understood something most people miss. Silence isn't passive, it's one of the most active weapons in power. It's a form of control that doesn't announce itself, it doesn't impose. Rather, it invites projection, confusion, and self-doubt. And if you use it well, people will move for you, adjust for you, fear you without ever knowing why. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. We live in a world obsessed with noise. Everyone wants to speak, be seen, explain themselves, and justify every thought. But those who truly understand power know this. The one who talks least holds the most leverage, because when you speak impulsively, you reveal things, your fears, your intentions, your limits. But when you remain quiet, measured and observant, you force everyone else to wonder, to guess, to fill in the blanks with their own insecurities. This is how you manipulate without lying. This is how you create presence without action. And the mind of your opponent does the rest for you. It's quite interesting, right? But that's not all. Sun Tzu once said that all warfare is based on deception, and when we look at the meaning of silence, it refers to deception without a single word, because it makes people nervous. It forces them to chase your reaction, to doubt their own behavior, and to speak more than they should. Silence is the power to stay in control while others scramble to fill the void. In arguments, it's a weapon. In negotiations, it's leverage. In relationships, it's emotional gravity. And Machiavelli knew, what is not said often controls more than what is. Look around you. Who commands more respect? The one who always explains themselves, always reacts, always posts, or the one who stays silent, whose opinion is rare, whose presence feels deliberate? You see, scarcity breeds value, and silence, when used with precision, creates perceived scarcity of your mind, your thoughts, and your approval. This is why the unpredictable boss commands more attention than the one who always gives feedback. It's why the person who doesn't respond right away in a conversation becomes more desirable. It's why the leader who pauses before speaking makes others hold their breath. But that's just the surface of silence. It also has a deeper layer called observation. Silence isn't just about what you don't say, it's about what you see. Most people look but don't observe. They miss the tension in someone's shoulders, the forced smile, the foot pointed toward the exit, and the voice that trembles beneath confidence. Machiavelli didn't trust words. He trusted patterns, gestures, omissions, because while words lie, the body leaks the truth. And the one who listens not just with ears but with full attention gains the advantage before the game even begins. But here's what most people never realize. Silence reveals you to yourself. Think about it. Why do so many people talk just to fill the air? Because they're uncomfortable with stillness. Because they fear what rises when things go quiet. Do you get anxious when someone doesn't reply? Do you feel the urge to explain yourself when misunderstood? Do you panic when someone just stares back at you saying nothing? That discomfort is a weakness, and someone more disciplined than you can and will use it against you. Because silence isn't just strategy outwardly, its power is inwardly. It trains your nerves, it teaches you patience, it breaks your addiction to instant validation. And once you master it, you become untouchable. But that's a piece of the bigger pie. Because silence, when used intentionally, doesn't just protect you, it reshapes the behavior of everyone around you. But here's what makes it truly dangerous. Silence bends the emotions of others without you lifting a finger. Because silence isn't just about being unreadable, it's about creating a void and letting others get lost in it. In arguments, silence is more cutting than anger. In relationships, it creates longing. In conflict, it destabilizes opponents. You might be asking yourself why it does that. Well, it's because silence removes certainty. And when people don't know what you're thinking, they start projecting. They invent stories. They overanalyze. They expose themselves trying to interpret you. This is where silence becomes a loop of manipulation once they walk into themselves. Let me give you an example. So see, when someone expects a reaction and gets none, they become unsettled. The brain craves closure. It wants to finish the story, to solve the puzzle. But when that doesn't happen, that gap, that hanging space, forces them into discomfort. They start to replay everything they said. They wonder what you're thinking. They begin adjusting their behavior just to get a signal from you. And just like that, you're in control. But it doesn't stop there. Machiavelli understood that manipulation doesn't always come through words. In fact, it's often more effective through absence. Imagine a ruler who's always available, always talking, always explaining. Eventually, their presence feels ordinary, predictable, weak. But a leader who withholds, who vanishes at the right moment, who delays their response just long enough to create tension, that leader's presence becomes valuable. Their silence becomes a signal, one others are desperate to decode. And that desperation, that longing, that uncertainty, that's how you anchor your power. However, too much of it can always destroy others, and to some extent yourself. You see, silence is power. It's a great strategy to gain control, but others tend to misuse it. Too much of it without emotional intelligence creates resentment. It makes you feel isolated. But that's not all. It also leads to hatred, suspicion, or emotional collapse. So what's the key to controlling this? Well, the answer lies on balance. You must know when to disappear and when to reappear, when to hold tension and when to relieve it with a word, a gesture, a precise compliment. Because if you disappear too long, you're forgotten. But if you return at the right moment, you're needed. The goal is to keep others leaning forward, never sure what you'll do next. This keeps them anticipating, guessing, and feeling that they need you. But that's not all balancing can do. Let's touch on something subtle, but lethal: praise. Machiavelli would call this emotional architecture. Others would call it psychological engineering. But the truth is, it's influenced through calibration, tension, release, absence, presence, silence, and clarity. So, what kind of leader or person do you become if you master this? Well, you become a very mysterious leader. You're not loud, you don't beg for attention, you don't overshare, you don't react impulsively. Instead, you watch, you wait, you respond at the moment of highest impact. And in doing so, you become the person no one can predict, the one everyone respects, the one who is always felt even when silent. Here's the final truth: people fear what they don't understand, and they respect what they can't control. So speak when it's strategic, withhold when it's powerful, and never let the world know exactly where you stand. Because once you master silence, you don't just protect your power, you become it.